Hello, hola, welcome to my channel. Now this one I usually try to do anime manga stuff, but in this one I want to talk a little bit more about my things that I like to do, I guess, segment one. And if you have been following my videos, then you know that I suffer from insomnia because that's just what I do. Now right now it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I was really bored, so I decided why not make a video, because that's what I do. I make videos late at night. That's not creepy at all, but you know, whatever. I'm gonna start with the books that I feel like. Books is basically what this video is about, my favorite books. And I don't know if you know this, but I have like a small library in my room and I love collecting books. Now, I'm not much for the teen ones like Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl and The Fault in Our Stars. I will admit I like The Fault in Our Stars, but I don't really like that type of books. I like the more, I don't know, I guess you'll see. Now the first book I wanted to start with, I'm gonna go to my least favorite but still my favorite, to my favorite of all books that I've ever read. Now the first one is Where the Red Fern Grows. I really don't know when this book was made. I don't follow the author. I don't particularly love the author that I know. It's Wilson Rawls. If anybody ever says that author name, I'm like, oh my god, yes. No, it's just a book I read when I was in 5th grade. It's a pretty long book, and the type, like the letters, are very small, in case you were wondering. Probably weren't. Probably don't even care about this video. Whatever. Now, Where the Red Fern Grows is a very sad story to me. I mean, it has a fucking dog dying, and if you know dog dyings, they're like, you know, Marley and Me, famous, very famous, because who doesn't think a dog dying is very sad, okay? Now, the story follows a kid and his adventure with his dog. I'm not going to go through what the adventure was or what happened. I'm just going to say that the dog protected him from, I don't know if it was a wolf or some sort, and he died. It was 2 dogs. I'm sorry. I haven't read this book since 5th grade, and that was many years ago, so sorry. And so there's a legend about the red fern, right? And after he buries his dog, a red fern grows over his grave. This is basically the ending. Now my second favorite book of all time, let me tell you, the hope to my favorite is to the point that I'm going to get a tattoo right here. Commemorate. Enseñando que mi favorito, basically, on my body with the tattoo, is Memoirs of a Geisha. Okay, now ever since I read this book, watched the movie, I've studied up on a lot of geisha stuff, their history. I read a lot of geisha books beside this one, manga. Like, I was just going through a humongous geisha phase, and I'm still into it. But sorry, I have to continuously keep repositioning my camera. Memoirs of a Geisha is a very long book, let me tell you. Again, it's very, the words are small as well. I read this one, I didn't want to finish it in like a week, which I can finish any book in a week, no matter what book it is. I even had, 1 whole day is my, record for book reading. Now, I read this one for a whole 3 years, okay? Not because I didn't like it, not because I was being lazy, not because I didn't like reading. No, I read it during a state of 3 years because it was so good I did not want to finish it in a mere month or a mere year, for crying out sakes. Okay, no, I finished it in 3 years. And for those 3 years that I've been reading this book, I have completely never forgotten the emotion that was within the book. You feel, I don't know if you, and stutter, I don't know if you've ever gotten the feels off a book, and that may sound very etchy, but it is not. It's a lot of sentiment in it, and it's basically the story. It's not real life, okay? It's fiction, somewhat. And it's the story of a young girl who gets sold from her family into a geisha house, and she was no way meant to ever be a geisha, but just somehow way destiny put her in that place. And basically her goes through love, her struggles through becoming a geisha, and when in the geisha community, what it is that she suffered through and what it is that she went through, and the struggles of basically the struggles of a love when you're a geisha. And I think the story covers so much, and it's just so beautiful that it leaves an imprint on you no matter who you are. I mean, if you don't particularly like reading, then you're not really going to try to read it and understand it, because it is a very heavy book, and you have to be very patient. Like, if you're not, then you're going to miss up a lot of stuff in this book. Now, my favorite of all time and most sentimental book that I have ever read, beside the Geisha, Memoirs of a Geisha, but I think this is completely sentimental in a different way for me. Not for any particular reason, but just because it is The Lost Boy. And I know this is a sequel. The first one is A Child Called It, and I really have been trying to get my hands on A Child Called It, but it is very hard when you do not leave your house. Now, The Lost Boy is of a story of a kid who comes from a horrible family. He's physically, mentally, verbally abused by his mother. He has brother and siblings, but he never sees them very much. He lives in a garage and has very crappy surrounding, let me just tell you. Now, his story is about how he gets put into foster care, and the story is about each home that he's in, what he experiences through those homes, the way he feels as he sees his mother, and how he battles it in court, and just the way that this book is written makes you feel as if you're right next to the child going through with this, or you're right near it, you know, like it's not a very big book. I mean, it's kind of thick, but it's not like the wording is very small, and it's not that big of a book, like compared to Memoirs of a Geisha, which is like, let me tell you, 5 times as big, maybe, in word wise and storyline wise. Now, it's a psychological psychological book. As you know, sometimes in manga there's psychological, and then there's drama, and then there's suspense. This one is psychological, and it's very sad, let me tell you. Not because he ends up dying, or because he ends up again with his family, because he does end up having a happy ending somewhat, with finally, after he turns, like, I think 15, he gets into a good family, and he gets to go to college, and he think he becomes an Air Force pilot, something like that. I haven't read this book in a couple years. Now, that's the reason why it's sad is not because he dies or something. It's sad because the struggles that he goes through. I mean, nobody wants that on a child, but horribly, this is what happens to a lot of kids who are in foster homes or regular homes. Their parents do not love them, they abuse them, and they can't take it physically, mentally. And I think this is a story, it's kind of sad, but it's happy, because this is of a story that it does end up a happy ending, even though he went through all that crap. Now, this is my favorite book of all time. I don't care if it's depressing, because it kind of is, and I don't care if it's cheesy, because it kind of is. But you really like the feels of a book. Like, you want to have a book with feelings, and not like Me or On the Dying Girl, which I have read, but I don't like it whatsoever. Even if she does die at the end, okay? That doesn't make a book good if someone dies, or it doesn't make it sad if someone dies. If you're not emotionally attached to the character or emotionally attached to the book, you can't love a book. That can't happen if you don't have that connection. If you don't emotionally connect with the freaking book, you can't love it. You can't remember it always. Like, I remember this book, every chapter that happened in this book, I can recall it. But with Earl and the Dying Girl, it was so boring to me that I don't remember the plot whatsoever. I remember the fact that it was boring, though. Okay, now that says something about the book. I'm not continually trying to like bash the author particularly. I'm just trying to say that if you don't have emotional connection with the book, that it doesn't leave an imprint on you, then technically that book wasn't good for you. Everybody has different tastes. People like those corny teenage books. Some people don't. And that's my opinion. Those are the 3 books that I think are my favorite in the top 3. Now that may change. I know the rest of my favorite books are Stephen King books because I have a gigantic Stephen King book collection, and I guess I will show that to you in another video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to hear more about me personally, more about my interests, or if you have a manga, an anime, a yaoi, something you want to check out a video game for Xbox, or a painting technique that you want me to do, because I do paint acrylic, oil, water, anything like that. Just leave it in the comment below and I will try my best to do it. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.